All right. We're back live in the counselor's corner. Tonight it'll be another one of those cocktail conversations. Here's your boy, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the controversial counselor. And on my side, we have Herb Lewis, the big bad wolf, and also the great Herb Lewis. So here we go. One of my supervisors told me years ago most poor decisions by children are follow up to poor decisions made by adults. Many adults make decisions based on their heart that may cause a lifetime of pain. Well, tonight, here in the Counselor's Corner, we will be having, again, another one of those episodes. And tonight's subject matter is going to be fight or flight. So please like and share this video. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. Instead of taking a snapshot at this particular scenario, I'm just going to go into it and read the actual scenario because I was going to do that anyway. So here we go. Darvin was a dedicated dad and always stuck to his commitment of getting his 4-year-old daughter, Alicia. At times, Darvin and Alicia, mother Camille, had a rocky relationship because of mistakes they both made in the past, but never was he prepared for what Camille had in store for him. It was Darvin's weekend to pick up Alicia. When he went by Camille's house, the place looked vacant. So off to Alicia's grandmother's house, and when she answered the door, she seemed to be cold with her statements. They're not here. And shut the door. Darvin was confused. It's not like Camille to contact him regarding Alicia. Darvin left several messages on Camille's phone, but no answer. A week went by, but he still had not heard from Camille or Alicia. Darvin was a wreck at work and spent his spare time crying at home. Darvin's mother and his sister called Alicia's grandmother and asked her, what the hell is going on? Darvin had been too good to the baby for him to be treated like this. Finally, Alicia's grandmother admits that Camille and Alicia have left the state and relocated to St. Louis. When Darvin's mother called to tell him the deal, Darvin burst out in tears. He was devastated. He just felt like dying. What will he do without his daughter? And what could possibly be the justification for Camille to leave? It's a damn shame that people play these games with children, especially when it's a stand-up guy who's a solid in the life in the child's life, consistent with finances, consistent with spending time, just being a rock. And what would possess a woman to take off with her child and leave the father like that? I'm thinking it only could be, well, people will say mainly two things. One thing they'll say, oh, maybe it was an abusive relationship. Well, it's means to stop that, but and not to minimize that, or it must be a love on the run, relocating for love. Those are two things that come off the top of my head. Man, oh man. So we're going to dive into this. Herb, what's good, man? What's your thoughts, man? Why in the hell would somebody take a child and relocate to another state without contacting the dad?
Well, I'm sitting here, and as you were reading, I'm writing. I'm actually started compiling a list, and I haven't even finished yet. So these are the things that come to mind. What the mother is actually doing is the first thing that I have, which is creating abandonment issues. Now, the child is too young to really understand complex or just adult relationships, whether they're complex or simple, because everything to a child is why is the sky blue? Why do I have to go to bed at this time? Why do I have to eat this? Why do I have to drink this? Why do I have to do that? Why? So you're never going to really be able to answer all the questions that a child has, and understandably so, because as an adult or as adults, we don't always have the answer. So it's understandable. Now, the things that that surfaced real quickly for me was it could be an abuse issue. She could be tired of his infidelity. There's some sexual dissatisfaction. Could be an income issue. Has he suffered a job loss to where the money that he was bringing in isn't what they're accustomed to when she's looking for a better standard of living? Has she discovered something about his past that she didn't know prior? That's compelled to say, you know what? I don't need to have my child around this. Neglecting to factor in that it's their child. So I think those things, and we on the panel when we generally host our Monday show, we always hear about the abuse issues when it's male to female, and understandably so. Women, they're sensitive to that. Excuse me, they're sensitive to that, and I think we should give that due diligence, and we should break that down. Now, I don't know what the numbers are in terms of abuse, and I know abuse can go generally both ways, but generally when the abuse happens from male to female, it's generally physical. And that for a lot of women is the last straw. They say, look, I have to get out of here. If not, he could potentially kill me. So I will never begrudge any woman that leaves an abusive relationship. Where I will falter is taking the child with her, making the decision unilaterally to take that child away from that child's father. And I know a lot of people will say, well, it's her child too. Yes, it is. It's both of their children. So if he is, just like you laid out, if he is being a good father to her and a terrible mate to the mother, then the mother has to figure out what to do so that child still has their father in their life. Because the child didn't ask to be moved. The mother made that decision for the child. Whether the mother thinks it's in the child's best interest is never really known up front. And we don't see the damage until long after the decision is made. And that, unfortunately, is something that always can't be fixed. And this is why we're always talking about therapy, because we have a lot of these kids who are in situations similar to this, where they were removed from one parent, whether it's the mother making the decision or the father making the decision. So when those decisions are made, they're made in a moment of absolute duress. So those thoughts are never really processed fully. You never look at the long-term potential of the damage that's done. And like I said, when it's done, it's too late to really address it without going to therapy, as opposed to just saying, okay, you know what? Let me leave this child somewhere where I know they're going to be protected, whether it's with a grandparent, uncle, trusted aunt, trusted sibling, of whomever, doesn't matter, wherever, and I can get out of harm's way. I'll let them know this is the situation, this is what I'm planning on doing. I'll come back, or I'll set up a meeting with the other parent so we can sit down and we can discuss this. And whether you need somebody from the Department of Social Services there, a lawyer, whatever the case is, those are the steps that, hopefully one would actually follow. But unfortunately, that's never really done. Like I said, these decisions are made in haste, they're made under duress. So when the individual actually calms down, they're just like, okay, you know what? I'm not going back to do that. That decision's already been made. I'll deal with the repercussions and the ramifications later. Meanwhile, the child suffers. And because the child has no real voice, they can complain, Mom, I miss my dad. I miss my mom. Why are we here? Because those are what you're going to hear. And a mother or a father just going to say, hey, look, be quiet. Go sit down and shut up. Go play with your favorite toy. This is what I did. I did it for your good. I did it because I love you, because I love myself, and I don't want to see any harm come to you or myself. So this is what we, this is our life from now on. I know you don't have your bed, you don't have your favorite toy, you don't get to watch TV. It's not always going to be like this. So the child grows up in that situation, not really knowing the complete story of why they were moved.
All right. Um, and thanks for that. Thanks for that feedback. And abuse could have been one of the things, but sometimes that may not be the case, and it may just be a rational decision made by one of the parents. But we have Lakia on here. How you doing, Lakia?
I'm well, and you, David, and her.
All right.
I'm doing
Uh,
well.
nice hat. Nice hat. I respect
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
So I'm gonna ask you, since you're the only woman on here right now, why in the hell would a woman take their child away from a father that's been good, productive, active in the child's life, and he's a positive and he's solid? Why in the hell would a woman do that?
Well, he may be all of that, but if it's affecting the woman in a way, as some of the things Herbert mentioned, mental abuse or physical abuse, he may be great with the children. He may be holding down the bills, being a good provider, but mentally, and physically, any type of abuse, we're gonna run for our lives and not give a second thought, especially if it's in the moment, especially in the moment. Okay. So we're gonna run for our lives. I don't care how good you've been in all those other areas, but if my mental and my physical is being attacked where I can't get it together, keep it together for the family, no, I'm most likely gonna run for my life in that moment.
So what if it's not? What if it's not no physical abuse? What if things just didn't work out? Whatever the case was, it just didn't happen, and the person decided somebody else was in her ear, and she decided, yeah, this is the time to make this break, and I'm gonna leave and not even consider, like, damn, they were tight. The child and the father, they were super tight, but she ran because, again, what did I say? What was the thing I said before? Love on the run. Love on the run.
Yeah.
Well, when it's situations like that, I think it's something in it could be either two things. The relationship was already breaking down, or someone got in her ear or his ear, because it could be either way. But someone got in her ear and started speaking little sweet nothings and made it seem like the grass was greener on the other side. So it could be, to me, like either or, one of those two things. And that happens because, especially if a woman is not happy in the home and something's breaking down, and someone starts DMing and starts sharing this, that, and talk about, man, I wish I was your man. I could treat you better. I can do this better. And she started drinking that Kool-Aid. Some moves may be made because the grass is looking great green on the other side. Especially if he's not. What if he's a guy that's not making a lot of money, and this guy, he's got a lot of money. He's making, his job is, like six figures. He's working a little side job, or just it could be different factors. Maybe
Hold up, man.
it could be different
Hold up.
factors that cause that to happen.
So, despite whatever that cat is making, that's worth taking away the love that your child has for her dad, and
No,
she thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's never did anything to harm her, and all she knows is my daddy this, my daddy this, my daddy this. And now you
right,
got Melvin or Tyrone down there
right,
who's probably gonna have some issues when a little Alicia say, "You're not my daddy." Well, my daddy did this, and he's gonna get tired and frustrated, and he may start saying little stuff. Oh, well, your daddy ain't here now, whatever. Or wait till you have to run out to the store, or whatever the case is, and then and it doesn't always happen like that, but
no.
I'm just throwing stuff out there
I know
to keep the
you just throwing
conversation
stuff
going,
out there. Mm-hmm.
and now he's pot shotting a little kid and saying little stuff about the dad.
Mm-hmm. Well, the word is called some silly women. Silly women will tend to, especially if you're not a confident woman, especially if you're still struggling with who you are as an individual, um, especially if you're kind of a selfish individual. You're not going to think about your children. You're going to think about yourself first. your needs being met, you're not going to think about the kids. I'm not saying, or will never say that that was correct, that that was okay to do. Because in my mind, I wouldn't want to. I would never do that. I wouldn't say never, but I would never strive to do something like that. God forbid, because I feel like we should be able to talk it out, or just let you know, hey, it's not working out. I'm about to make a move. You know, so it wasn't correct, but it could be reasons within herself that she, always just settled or found herself maybe feeling herself in the moment. Maybe, some things in life causes you to start seeing things differently as you get older. I remember when I was 22, I don't think the same way I do now as I was at 22. I remember a time when I was in a relationship with somebody at 17. And so at 17, um, they had a job, but then then you see all these this other guy was a drug dealer and had all these cars and money, and that looked appealing. So when you're a silly woman and you think that is what life is about, you're gonna chase after that money. You're gonna chase after that dollar, or you're gonna try to chase after something you think you're missing. In actuality, you don't know that you already had it because you're not paying attention to what's in front of you. You're allowing whatever you saw to think that that grass is greener.
But one caveat is with fathers know their rights, whatever, women have to get permission. They have to get permission to leave the state with somebody's child. So a father could shut that down, even though you could say, it's a great opportunity, I'm moving. And if he says, oh, you trying to take my baby? Oh, hell no. You can go, but she or he's not going. And it would have to, you would have to go through court proceedings and all that stuff. And it doesn't have to be just, even though you may be the custodial parent, he still has his rights, and you have to get permission from him, regardless. So that's another thing, because I know people do this often, and a lot of times, and I know I posted something like that, and someone may and I ain't gonna say their names, but they had made a comment. Most guys don't care anyway, so it doesn't matter, and that could be the case. But in this case, I think Darvin, he cared, and he got hoodwinked, especially when you start having family members that kind of go along with it and kind of hide it, and he's coming being a stand-up person doing his duty, and then the person, oh no, they're not here. Then a week goes by, he still doesn't hear anything. Imagine how painful that is, because he could be thinking like, damn, are they dead? Like, what's going on? And then you're the grandmother, but in your church going too. Those are parts that I didn't with. Your church going too. So what part of the game is that? Whatever. Just corruptness on, and Darvin got dead dirty dog on that one.
Well, that's sad for Garvin. That's true, but I think it was like probably a breakdown prior, and just a person running off is a coward move in my mind. But I'm not going to say that I haven't done that before either. It's like, you've been through that too. Yep. Because if somebody's being abusive mentally, I didn't take the kids and run away or anything like that. I had left. He knew I was leaving. But I did go back and forth to court trying to get full custody because I didn't want the kids to be in that environment. And when it became to the point where they kept denying me, I had to get to a point to say, you know what, Lord, these are your kids. And if you want him to still remain in that man's house part-time, then I have to trust it that you're going to protect them. And so far as he has. So there's sometimes as a parent, when you have to not think selfishly and think about what's best for your children and what was best for even though he's not the best dad, he wasn't at the time, but they still needed him in his life.
You mentioned silly, and that's something I want to ask about. Why did you use the term silly? Because we've seen, and the world is full of replete with examples of women who will leave older women. When I'm speaking older, I'm talking mid 30s to early 40s, that will leave a man who's doing reasonably well to go to a man who's doing better because she wants the lifestyle. Certain women, they chase a lifestyle. It doesn't matter what it is. They're going to chase it. So why term it as silly?
Because when you have something good, you should appreciate it. You would want to be appreciated. Like it can go either way, I would want someone to appreciate me in the state that I'm in. If we're in this together and you've known me to be in this state of, if I'm working a job and it's a 9 to 5 and that was appealing at the time when you met me, and now another woman come along and she's an RN, or she's a independent worker and can make her own hours, and now that's more appealing to you. Why did that change? Why is this not comfortable still for you? And so it can go either way. But when I say silly women, that came from the word, as far as women being enticed so easily by deception and thinking that a man that can give you compliments or think that someone has more money is more accomplished or more respectful, or and it does not necessarily mean that's true. So that's why I use that term, that at times we could allow our society seeing, these watching Real Wives of Atlanta, thinking, oh, that's the lifestyle I should be living. And sometimes we do feel that way. Anybody can feel that way, and a man that can present that to you, seems like he can present that to you, you might want to take that. You start saying, wait a minute, that looks good over there. I want that opportunity. Maybe I could have that life. It can seem appealing, but I'm going to say silly minded. My man is doing well. We're doing well. We have love that's been unbreakable, not questionable. Those are things you can't buy. Money can't buy. Money can't buy that. So you have to think about what the priority of your life is, and what is more important: love, foundation, loyalty, or money, greed, which that can tend to be, and selfishness.
Well, I always said that it's two things that make people change. Either people change for pain or they change for pleasure. So maybe Camille was in a lot of pain or wasn't living up to her expectations and decided, oh, I'm going to have a clean slate as well. And maybe the love on the run could have provided pleasure or whatever the case is. But sometimes one of the essential questions is, you ask yourself, what is in the best interest of the child? And I think that when you have kids, that has to be one of the first things you have to say. What is in the best interest of the child? And when you think about that, then sometimes people will make different choices. But let me read a couple of the perspectives from this scenario in my little 5 talking points that I go through. So perspectives. Camille is selfish and never considered her daughter or Darvin in his decision to relocate. That was one. Just because he was picking up his child up and spending some money on his daughter does not mean he was a good dad. Number 3, marriage would have provided stability in this relationship. Stop having children out of wedlock. Number 4, there is no justification to run off with the child and removing the father out of their lives. Totally unacceptable. Now, here's some background knowledge. Their relationship was doomed with their child before it began. Camille had a poor work ethic. Scandalous, non-working ass. Camille. Now the shit is getting thick. She was a runner when things got tough. She runs instead of trying to solve problems. She makes irrational thoughts without thinking things through and then suffers the consequences down the road. Oh, can we say unstable? Can we say unstable?
A double-minded man or woman is unstable in all their ways. But.
Action. Personally, I would have tried to work the issue out instead of putting it in the hands of a random 85-year-old judge who knows shit about either individual's past. My heart aches for Darvin because all too many women use children as a leverage of power. So yeah, and when you think about putting it in the hands of a judge, he doesn't know you, he doesn't know her, he doesn't give a damn, and he's gonna come with a decision, and he don't know what's in the best interest of the child. I don't care how many law books he read or whatever. Every situation is unique and different in its own way. So to put it in the hands of a judge is kind of like playing Russian roulette. Like you don't know how that's going to pan out. Consequences to this: the child may pick up some of Camille's behaviors due to her lack of stability, or may have resentment towards her mother because she removed her from a stable figure in her life, dad. Also, I'm sure Darvin may have some ill effects with trust and also may become emotionally detached from any further future children. So that was that.
You know the well, let me before I speak about the real irony about this and what you just said, David. I'm going to go back to something Lakia said, and I'm going to expand on that. She mentioned love, then, and in the famous song "What's Love Got to Do with It," Tina Turner famously said, "What's love got to do with when I have a?" Trying to remember exactly how it goes. What's love got to do with it when there's a shoot, I can't remember quite how it goes, but she says something about an hour with a secondhand emotion, and that's what we're talking about when we talk about decisions made under duress and not made in a rational mindset. And that was one of the things I wrote down. An irrational thought. Oh, he's gonna kill me, he's gonna harm the child, he's gonna do this, versus the one based on fact. If anybody, a partner, doesn't matter what type of relationship it is, if they never demonstrated a physical or any type of physical aggression to where you see, not think, but see where they're going to do harm, then the decisions being made, they're not really being made based on rational thought. They're being made based on irrational thought and what this person could do. In other words, they're projecting the situation to go in a way that it may never go. That's not to say it can't happen, but that's to say we're always looking at the worst case scenario. This is why I always, when we have our Monday panels and people are talking, they always reach for the worst case scenario to try and buttress their position. And this is the problem. The real problem is they don't have any real life experiences. They're always drawing on somebody else's experience. So one of their friends may have had it happen. They'll say, well, this happened to my friend, but yes, did you choose the same type of partner that your friend chose? Another thing too is, and I've said this before, your relationship is not supposed to be between your family members, your friends, and social media. If you have a problem in your relationship, work it out with the individual that you are in the relationship with. This is one of the reasons why my personal business does not see the light of day. Because we get too much input, and the input we receive generally is from somebody that doesn't know everything that's going on in the relationship. They only know the information from the perspective of the person that's giving it. And nobody, I don't care who you are, when they're telling the story, wants to put themselves in a bad light. So they always try and leave out little details that happen to have a critical, or they tend to critically shift certain things. So you say, well, wait a minute. Well, why did you do this? And nobody wants to be put on the jury, on the jury stand. Nobody wants to be put in the witness testimony. I can't think tonight. Nobody wants to be put on trial and be put in the witness chair to testify as to what part they had in the relationship, because now they're forced to examine themselves. And it's like I always say with the Billy Joel reference, the song "The Stranger." Sometimes we don't want to take that mask off and look in the mirror and say, you know what? The decision that I made brought about this, whether the decision is good, bad, or indifferent. So sometimes we have to stop and look at what we did. And I'll use myself today as a prime example. I went to take my pistol permit into the county to get it. looked at so they can start the process. Now, on the top of the application, it clearly says use black ink. I use blue and black. Didn't realize until I got there. Now, the thing that irritated me was when I took it in last week, because this is the second time I've taken it in, but I took it in last week, the same individual that viewed it didn't say anything about the blue ink that was written on top, where I had one of the character references. So I'm not even thinking anything of it. I had this filled out 5 years ago and it's been sitting on my table just languishing. I said, you know what, let me get my behind in gear and get this done. So when I took it into today, in the section that I didn't think we were supposed to write in was written in the blue ink, that's when she says, and I'm thinking, why didn't you say anything last week? But ultimately, the decision and the culpability doesn't lie with that individual. It lies in my hand because I should have read the entire application. And I think that's where we as humans, we make the mistake. We always want to try and withdraw ourselves from any culpability and say, well, it was that individual's fault. If they hadn't did this, I wouldn't have done that. And they always say life is 10% what happens and 90% how you respond. And sometimes as adults, we don't adhere to that. So I just figured I'd throw that out there.
I wanted to share that there's a couple of things. So happy you mentioned that. I did my certification class today. So I'll be I'm close to having my own little firearm. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hold up. Some of y'all gonna shoot y'all eyes out. Some of y'all will shoot y'all eyes out like Ralphie.
I'm good.
I'm excited because I'm like, I've been waiting to do it. I not to change the subject. So I'm looking forward to having one. There's a couple things you guys said. When you talked about going in front of the judge, I found that was the only way I would get him to respond to me correctly is to bring in some authority. Okay, he would not, if I was just talking and I was saying something or I was trying to be calm and while staying calm and trying to have dialogue as far as what needs to be done for the kids, I got no response. So, okay, but when I called the judge, I take you to court. Now you want to be like this. So that's the thing that I'm saying about it. Doesn't matter all these good attributes you're saying about this man. A lot of men in front of, on the floor out front is very kind and loving and being a provider. But like you said, just because he's a provider, does that mean he's a good dad? No. He at home, he could be a hot mess behind closed doors. Where's the love? Where was the hug when I needed one? Where was the babe, you look good when I needed one? Where was the you need anything when I needed one? When whatever. Move, Casper. And so go sit. Sorry. So why? So that doesn't always mean that what he's doing for the relationship and for the children is functional, is really good. Just because he's doing those things with actions those type of actions does not mean he's giving that emotional support that's needed.
Obviously, in the court of law, if they say you can't just go to another state without, you need to still be somewhere around, then obviously that's not a major issue. The issue is for someone to go to another state without letting him know. You let him know anything else. You let him know, hey, I need this, whatever. I got this little way up. Could you go half on this? Or I need you to do this. So all of a sudden now you don't want to share. Something seems suspect about that. Something seems suspect about that. Because I'm sure if she would have shared that with Darvin, he would have said, get the fuck out of Dodge. With that,
that's probably why she didn't. Yeah. That's probably why she didn't share.
Okay. So that was real suspect.
Right. That's probably why she didn't share, because she knew what he was going to say. She knew that with some women, we know if they talk to us, we melt like jello. We melt like butters. Like, okay, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to do this. It's like we have to do it on the impulse or we'll never do it because that person has that much of a stronghold over us to keep us from moving. I've learned that there's some people I had to just shut out totally because if I didn't, they can come back and they say something to me and I'm like, okay. And it's like they'll rationalize, they'll give me some lies. I'll think those lies are true. And now here I am, right back into the same situation and never getting any change. Does it make it right that she ran away? No. With the child? Absolutely not. But that's why it's good we're having these conversations that hopefully someone will see it and say, okay, I'm not going to handle it that way. Maybe I'm going to say, listen, from now on, you go through the grandparents and see this child. From now on, you go through if you don't want to go through the course, I'm okay. We don't got to go through the course, but make sure you go through the grandparents, or the parent, or you whoever, so that you might need to, or they may need to separate to stay away from that toxic relationship. And then secondly, the other thing too, go ahead.
No, finish your point.
The other thing was that I believe that to some degree too, that we can get into a situation where we weren't really ever really happy from the beginning, but just settling. And as time began to progress and things got worse, you began to realize I can't keep settling. I have to move on. They don't need to keep settling because maybe there's somebody else better for you. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing. That just means, we hooked up, but maybe we never really thought this thing through. Maybe we didn't allow time to make his perfect work. Maybe we didn't allow, us to really get to know each other for real before we laid up with each other and had this child. But does it still make it right that she ran away or he runs away? No. But I believe there's better ways of handling it. But there was a breakdown somewhere before that happened.
Well, let me go ahead, David.
Let me let you in on a little secret, and not for you, Lakia, but anybody. Anytime you make irrational decisions like that to uproot and go to another state, more than likely you ain't about to land the job you looking for or whatever the case. You may end up being in a worse situation than before. And sometimes you also got to consider the person who wants you to come down there. He may be someone, obviously you already know him, like, yeah, when I get her away from her family and everybody else, now I got the juice. Now I'm running things. She's depending on me. She's not going to find a job like that because if she ain't coming down there, if somebody ain't sent for her to come down there besides the man, and I'm talking about a job, because relocation ain't easy. And for me, I would have probably never left Niagara Falls, but they sent for me. They kept coming for me, emailing me, the school district, come down here, please, have a visit with your brothers, your family, and come interview. Because other than that, I would have been like, nah, I'm good. So most people make those decisions and it's all about, oh man, I moved to the ATL. You're not doing anything. You're at 7-Eleven. You work at 7-Eleven. You could have did that at Niagara Falls. It made out better. But they just like to say that they're somewhere else. The fascination with that, or the ability to post pictures now on social media, it looks good. Yeah, I'm out of that raggedy ass town. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But they're not doing nothing. You're doing the same stuff. So maybe that was a part of it. Like, I want to get a fresh start. But she didn't consider Alicia, because then things probably would come up. Okay, now you want her to go back, but homeboy certainly ain't helping you get her back. And now you asking the dad to, okay, could you do this? Could you do that? Wait a minute. You the one took her down there. Why the hell I got to come out of my pocket for more money? Granted, I do want to see her, but why do this has to be an L for me when you decided that? I thought you had it going on down there. That's the reason why you made the move. So you have to think about all of these things before you make these decisions. And just because you can post up by landmarks and say, yeah, I'm here and all that, You're still flipping over them hot dogs at 7-Eleven. You could have did that shit at Niagara Falls. Now I'm being facetious. Not everybody works at 7-Eleven, so don't take it personal. I just threw that example out there.
11.
And this something Lakia said that I want to address. It's always talked about going to a situation or another individual where it's better. But what can be better for the child, speaking specifically just for the child, than the original or the biological parent? And this is why we always get into the step parent issue, the single parent role, and all of this other stuff. Is there ever a point where, and we all know that in Black America, that more women go to church than men. There's a age discrepancy a dearth of women in church when you look at the men, especially between the reproductive ages. So we're talking essentially about the ages of 18 to roughly about 40 in terms of men. Those men are conspicuously missing out of the Black church. So is it possible for a woman who's having troubles with whether it's her husband or the father of a child to go to her pastor or reverend and have him act as an intermediary before you actually take the step and go to the law, whether it's the family courts or whatever the case is?
Okay, so you didn't put a couple questions out there. So
sure.
Good thing I got my handy dandy notepad. So the thing is, first, what would be beneficial for the child? I would say
hold on. Let me qualify that. In the absence of abuse, meaning that abuse does not exist in terms of the. Yeah, I just want to clarify that.
Well, if it's not abuse, but then there's still drug use and there's still alcoholism. So I don't know. Is that also in the middle, all together with abuse?
Yeah, anything that would impact the care of the child.
Okay, because I was just going to say that if the father or mother is sorry.
Negatively.
Okay, because negatively for the child.
Correct.
In the home currently, why is it beneficial for them to be somewhere else?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, other than with the biological father, because I would understand if there's a situation between the parents where one of the parents feels the need to make an out, I would never begrudge anybody not being happy in the circumstances that they're in, because I've known of situations where parents don't get along, but when it comes to the care of the child, it's a different circumstances. There's no issues whatsoever. Like the scenario, the father is loving, the mother supportive. They keep their dysfunction and issues out of earshot and eyesight of the child. So the things that happen go behind closed doors, and people are amazed and say, "Well, your parents were always arguing. How did you grow up to be so normal when they were abnormal?" And the parents will say, "Because we hid it from her." There are a lot of situations that parents hide abuse, that parents hide neglect from, whether it's the mother being or the wife being neglectful towards the father's needs or vice versa. Sometimes that's never seen. Where we do see that often is when those people are in the limelight. So when they're couples of or the offspring of families that are well-to-do or they're popular, we see this a lot with athletes, and we see this a lot with kids that grew up as child actors, that they come out as dysfunctional teens because they live in the fishbowl that's Hollywood. So they never have any time to be kids. As a matter of fact, we see this with President Obama or former President Obama's daughters, how they're under such scrutiny that they can't live a normal teenage existence. Everything they do is under a microscope. So they can't afford to engage in age-appropriate behavior, whether that's smoking marijuana. I never did it, but I'm not going to begrudge a kid that experiments, because, hell, most of American teens or most of American parents at some point in time is probably experimenting with it. But they can't do that because they're in that fishbowl. Everything they're doing is being dissected, torn apart, scrutinized, and it's just like we can't be kids. We can't be teens. We can't go out anywhere and have any privacy without this strange man peeking over my shoulder. I don't care if he's gonna tell. I just want to be normal. And this is why you get some kids that run away, not because the abuse from one parent or the other. It's just that they can't be around the parents because the parents are the parents' relationship is so contentious that they just say, okay, you know what, enough. Maybe me running away will get them to sit down and hammer out their differences and stop behaving like petulant children.
That
Well, go ahead.
And it may have a little something to do with what you were saying. That is all the reason why I always say for people to stop posting kids on social media like that. Stop. Let them have the opportunity to be kids. I mean, especially if you're someone that's done dirt or whatever the case is. There's no need, absolute no need for someone to have a 1-year-old baby and say, hey, everybody, it's her birthday today. Say happy birthday to such and such. She can't read that shit. So what's the point of that? What's the point of that or other than you're looking for some type of acceptance for yourself? And it's just foolishness, whatever. And again, and I always say, most kids don't want to be on your social media page. They rather have their own thing going on with their peers. The hell they look like being on there with some 50, 60-year-old people. It doesn't do it for them. So people always putting exposure out there. So sometimes kids can't be kids or whatever the case. But then again, it's a lot of predators out here too. And they just watch it and lurking and trying to do harm. And the quickest way to get to you is your damn kids. Oh, that's your daughter? Oh, that's your daughter? Oh, she goes to Hyde Park Elementary? Okay. I got you. And then you wonder why. You wonder why something happens. Because you wanted somebody to say happy birthday and you wanted to get some likes and some hearts and some emojis.
That's not the only reason. No, I have to rebuttal that one a little bit. I get what you're saying, but that's not the only reason because social media has allowed families to stay connected. You know, especially with COVID, families were able to.
COVID just came a year ago. People been doing that before that
stuff, and I'm just saying,
dead. That's dead.
Like, look, I'm going to finish my comment though. That is part of the reasoning. The other thing is, I do get what you're saying. It bothers me a little bit when I see little babies, like little girls or even boys, on social media half naked. That does bother me. So I can't tell you I don't agree with that. I do. Because I be thinking about that too, about sexual predators and stuff like that. I'm like, don't put that baby on there like that, just all dolled up. And I'm like, oh, that's just that could be a kidnapping waiting to happen. There was so much sex trafficking going on, or that's taking place now, and that's on the rise. So yeah, I totally agree with that. We do need to be more careful, more mindful what we put out there.
Let me say this before you go. Let me say this. Shout out to my man John from America. What's good? You back? I appreciate you coming back.
Big up, John.
But also, I forgot. John, John, you got me going. It was some other point I wanted to go with that. No, besides that, I hate to say this. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Uh-oh.
Some kids just ain't fucking cute. So they don't need to be on there. So that's a meme waiting to happen. It's a meme waiting to happen. You see a funny looking kid and you say, oh, let me take this. Now it's circulating all over. It ain't going nowhere. And their classmates say, oh, they laughing and giggling as you come into school. Did you see that picture of you? What are you talking about? It's a meme going on. A meme about me? Yeah, I guess your mother posted a picture of you and whatever. Now it's a meme. Now that kid freaking destroyed because your ass wanted some likes, wanted some emojis, and whatever the case is, be mindful and be honest. Be honest. Some other parents, you know your kids. Some parents know their kids. He's not the greatest looking kid.
But you wrong for that. Because
I am wrong. But that's why I'm sick too. That's why I'm the
kids is
controversial
beautiful.
counselor.
Let
That's
them.
why I
And you
am.
know what? Babies turn out sometimes they like caterpillars. They may not be that cute right now, but they turn to be beautiful butterflies. So
With
you
no
know
wings,
what?
so they can't fly.
And some people still trying to get out that ugly stage. And some people
So
still
I'm just
trying to get out
saying,
that ugly
give
stage.
the kids a break. Give the kids a break.
You know how you give the kids a, you know how you
so
give the kids a break?
Give the
Yeah,
kids
don't.
a break.
You know how you give them a break?
Huh?
You know how you give them a break?
How?
Don't put them on social media.
See, them babies are beautiful.
Mhm.
So one more thing I wanted to say, Herb, you had mentioned about what's love got to do with it. My slogan has always been love has everything to do with it. Because when you really have love for people, really have love in your heart, genuine love, I believe you will not be selfish. I believe you will be kind. I think you will be long suffering. I believe you'll be understanding. I believe you'll be all those things that come with real love. Now, all this fake, fictitious love that's going on out there, that ain't real. But true love will stand, and I do believe that because God is love. So, period. That's my, Christian word for today. God is love, and love has everything to do with it.
Okay,
So,
hey,
whatever's going on, love has everything to do with it.
I'm willing to accept that. If you are going to marry a man who's only making about $30,000 a year right now, as opposed to marrying a man that's making $85,000 a year, you love him. You love the man that's making $30,000 a year.
Absolutely.
So you gonna move into his one room. You can move into his one-room house with your kids because you love him. As a
I'm a different kind of woman. I'm a different kind of woman. I'm gonna tell you that all the time. I'm gonna share something.
No, you don't have to explain to me. Hold on. You don't have to tell me you're a different kind of woman. The decision you make will tell me what kind of woman you are.
I did.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I did. I did marry someone that did not have a job per se on paper, but was independent contractor.
No, I'm talking right now.
Oh, no, right now, yeah. I mean, it depends on what he's. I mean,
No, depends. I'm saying you find the guy that you love. He has a one-room bed. He has a house, one maybe two bedrooms. You love him dearly. You gonna move in with him versus the man that's making $80,000
I would have
house?
to assess it. I would have to assess the relationship.
See, now you're shuffling. Now you're shuffling.
That's not the only factor, Herb. I can't say that's going to be the only deciding factor of the reasons to be with that man or not. Correct. It would have to be the combination of things.
That's why I said, what's love got to do with it? Because we know at the end of the day, money make the world go round.
Love has everything to do with it. It still has to do with that, because if I love that man, I'm going to accept him with that $30,000 a salary. I'm going to accept the fact that he has a one bedroom, and we're going to change that because we coming together.
No.
Together is going to bring a 4 to 5 bedroom.
You gonna live like 8 is enough with one bedroom.
No, you don't have to. There's no ask. No, you don't have to. You don't have to settle for that. You can say, "Listen, let's take your 30 and mine, and let's bring this thing together."
But that's my point. You're going to try and change what is because you don't love him the way you think you love him.
No.
It's conditional.
That's not correct, because when you get with someone, things will change because you now have two worlds coming together. So that is going to happen based on the fact that there's two people coming together, depending if he has children or if she has children. That's what's going to be the deciding factor of how many bedrooms you're going to have. Now, let's say they have no children at all. That one bedroom or two bedroom is just fine. But if they're coming together in love, then you're going to have to assess how many bedrooms you're going to have to move into.
But he can't afford to, and he doesn't want to get another job.
If there's two of us with two incomes, he could afford it.
But he doesn't want to move.
Like
You saying you love them?
Oh, but you know what? Now that's good that you're saying that, because that's another I have heard about that as well, where two people can live in two separate places being married. My thought, and I'm gonna be honest, years ago when that was presented,
Where's Saria when you need her?
I was like, that ain't working. We
Hold
gonna
on,
live
mofos. I'm here. I'm in the background.
Yeah, no, we together. What did he say? I missed it.
That's Saria's little thing when she doesn't arrive to the panel in time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. At one point, I would have thought that's not good. Two people married, live in two separate homes. No, but if you have a good, I mean, if that's the way it is, you could be in a marriage and live in two different homes, because sometimes people are stuck in their ways, and that may work better to keep the love the way that it is. So I wouldn't. It would take two mature individuals to make that happen.
What would be cool? What would be cool if you had a house set up and you had your area, she had her area, you had your bathroom, you had your area, and you had like a common area. And once in a while, you come over her way, she come over your way. I think it probably would reduce a lot of drama if that was the case. Y'all still in the same spot, but y'all have this house set up, and that's if you got money like that. Like, listen,
if that works, make it work. Whatever work. And that's the thing. Everything doesn't have to be what society or what your mama did or grandma did or cousins did, aunties and them. Create your own relationship and make it work. And that's the thing where I think a lot of people get caught up. Like you were saying, people don't need to be in your business. Listen, you run your home and let me run mine. And if this works where he sleeps in his own room or he has his little space, even though I'm going to go invade his space when he think he has his own space, if that is what works, it works. That's for us. But if your house is different, then you run your home. And I think when you create your own, two adults creating adult relationship, coming together, having those conversations, that's what's going to help make it work. That's all I'm saying.
And like Tosha said, that's the perfect setup. That will alleviate everything, because if we got into an argument and you needed 2 or 3 days, we're still around each other. You still feel the energy. I'm just not coming over to her area. I'm not coming over to her area. I'm not ready yet, or whatever the case is. But she knows I'm home. She's home. I could do what the hell I want. Maybe I might say, hey, baby, could you come over and help me clean this area because it got a little junky, whatever.
We know what kind of cleaning that means then. That ain't no cleaning no areas or no areas.
But nah. But hold up. I got a new segment that I want to introduce. Some people, as I go through posts and stuff, need counseling.
What laugh is that? What's that?
Some people. So every week on Thursday, and y'all can send me stuff too, but as I see stuff and I reflect on stuff, as C2, the controversial counselor, I say to myself, they need damn counseling. So I got 3 to top it off this week. Number 1. When you just find some religion and all of a sudden everything is God this, God that. You post on social, God this, thank God for waking me this morning, God this and that. Everybody knows this same lingo. So who are you trying to prove something to? That you believe in God, or, in your word, Herb, disingenuous? Or are you just trying to catch and trying to make it seem like you're this godly person, you're so balanced, whatever? You don't. I thought religions was sacred. Your relationship with God, Jesus, Allah, or whatever was sacred, that it doesn't have to be advertised and all that stuff. So when I see people in all their words is that, and you talk to them, God this, God that, I question that. I really do question the genuineness of it, and is it authentic, or is it they're trying to prove something? You need counseling. You need counseling. You need help. You need help. That's one. And y'all can disagree. Y'all can chime in. Number 2.
No, I agree.
Number
I
two. Okay. And you have your chance. And number two, when you have someone, you're a father in your 30s, 40s, you have a talented child. Of course, you want to push them, but all of a sudden, and you know they're ultra talented in whatever they do, whether it's sports, whether it's art, whether they're an author, whether they can sing or entertainer, and all of a sudden you get a boost of arrogance because of your kid. Meanwhile, you haven't done anything to elevate yourself, and you're still young, in your late 30s, 40s. Hopefully, you don't stop and say, "That's it. I want to sit around and hopefully my child becomes my cash cow." You still want to be able to work and say, "Hey, son, I appreciate it," or "Hey, daughter, I appreciate it. But mom or dad, I'm all right. I led a good life. I did what I want to." When you're that person and all of a sudden you cocky based on your child's success, you need damn counseling yourself, whatever. Because like I said, if somebody 30 or 40 some years old, it don't stop. Life don't stop. You keep grinding. You keep trying to be the best. You motivate your kids in ways that even if they're playing sports and they say, "Oh man, my dad just came home, said he got a promotion. Life has changed for us. We've been able to do this or do that." They need to see that. But when you living in your past, your high school days, and you're 40 something, you need counseling. You need counseling. I will send you a referral. Finally, the third one. Listen, people, I know some people been back to school a while now, but here in Maryland, we're just getting back. Like I said, I had a whopping 4 kids this week. Parents, don't start calling with this bullshit over anything, whatever, because now your kids then came back to school. We were fine during this pandemic. Don't start calling for any reason. Prime example, today, I hope none of my people listening to this, but only me and that parent know we had the conversation. Parent calls me, because mind you, remember I told you my secretary had left and she got a promotion. So now calls that she would normally fill, I answer or the other counselors answer. And sometimes I don't even get those calls throughout when she's there. Parent tells me, calling and Mr. Glover, when's the last exam? I don't fucking know. Woman, we just getting back to school. I don't know. So I look it up. The last day of school is supposedly June 25th. Well, I'm thinking about going to Egypt. Really? Okay. So I want to know if I could take my kid out in May. It's based on the grades, and also you might have to speak to the administrator. But I have one more question. And if he's passing, I look at his grades. Oh, he's doing fine so far. So everything is good. I have one more question. Do you know if he goes to Egypt, could he stay virtual? And do they have Wi-Fi that connects to school? How the fuck do I know what's going on with Egypt Wi-Fi and Baltimore Wi-Fi? See, that's what I'm saying.
You didn't go on. What are you up to over there?
Who? No,
you hyped over there. You hyped.
Because people need counseling, and I'm going to put it out there. Like, why? How would I know that? And I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible. Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I don't have the answer for you. I don't have many kids that's doing virtual learning for Egypt. Here, I don't know. I know. I just want to know whatever, because I'm thinking about it. No, what you need to do is say, I was going to schedule this trip after June 25th, and then I'll go from there. So parents will start calling for any reason now once their kids go back to school. What you need to do while you're working, if you're bored, ask your boss to give you another project to do, another job, another sign. Don't start calling me, because I don't got no damn secretary, and I ain't. My patience is gonna run thin. Gonna run thin with these calls. Huh? I'm starting to feel like somebody. So parents, if you ain't got nothing to do at your job, you need a career coach or something. You need counseling. I'm done.
Thank you. That was hype. That was a lot of energy coming off out of here. Like, dang,
that just pissed me off. Now y'all can have some.
Sleep 10 o'clock at night.
All I'm gonna say is there's certain people that shouldn't be having kids. That's all I'm
You know what? We ain't even gonna go there with you making that statement, Herb. We already said it. We settled that one last week, but okay.
But do you want to hear the hook? You don't want to hear the hook.
He over there already bringing fire. What you got?
No, I just got the hook to my song. I'm you know, y'all
I don't want to hear
move me
no
so
more
much.
singing. I don't want to hear no more singing. No more. But
Yeah, okay. So let me listen. Listen. You sound. It seemed like you kind of come for me today, Mr. Controversial Counselor. Okay, because it sounds like you're trying to come for me. Okay, because all these 3 things has happened within a week.
Oh yeah. Hey, maybe I'm a prophet. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you. Okay, so I am Christian and I love talking about the Lord. And I'm going to talk about the Lord because I'm happy about him. No, but I don't put a lot of posts out there like that. I think that's because, you know what? It's a beautiful thing when you find who you are spiritually. It's a beautiful thing. Freedom and to receive peace and to receive joy. You just want to spread it. You want to spread what's inside of you. You want to get it out. You want to share what you've received because you see the hurt and the pain that's out there in this world. And for you to finally get into a place that you're free, you want to just share it with people. And you want that. And the thing is, and it just comes out because you can't help it. So it doesn't mean that necessarily that they're being fake. It means that maybe they're just so excited about what God has done for them in their life and they can't help but share the good news. Can that be that? Can we do that? Instead of always sharing all the negativity and all the hurt and the pain and the struggle and the woman running away from her problems and taking the kids. Can we talk about some good stuff in this world? That's all I'm saying.
So now you're trying to disagree with my platform and you come in for me, whatever. Because I'm coming with dysfunctions, that stuff. Most people learn from mistakes others made. If you just got into Jesus and all of that stuff, I highly doubt if somebody's gonna say, his ass just was up out at the club the other week. I ain't paying him no attention. You got to put in some legwork for that. You got to put in some leg. You got to put in some legwork for that.
That's all I'm saying.
You got to put in some legwork for that. That's my opinion. You got to put in some legwork. You got to have a balance too. You got to have a balance. Everything can't be this.
True that. There is a saying that they say, don't be so heavenly minded that you know earthly good. So that's true. You want to have balance. So I'm just saying. That's why I'm joking with you. But the other thing is about living in your kid's shadow. Like I have successful kids, but I think my kids are successful because I'm successful. So I don't think it's it can go both ways. But I get what you're saying. Parents living in the spotlight of their child and they're not doing anything with their life, and that's all they really can't even say good about their life because. But you know what? That's why. Okay, so that's why I got it. Okay, see, that's why. Okay, here we go. That's why when a lot of people do see successful children, guess what they say? Good job, mom. Good job, dad. Because why?
I could jump all on that.
Okay, I'm gonna say listen. That's what they say. Tell me the truth. Am I lying? Am I lying? If I'm lying, I'm lying. They say, "Good job, mom. Good job, dad." And I'll say to them, "Hey, she did the work. Hey, he did the work." But they do because why? It took mom and dad, or mom or dad, whomever, both, to put in the work to help that child get to where they are.
Not in all cases. We know the absolute. Some kids find that extrinsic motivation to say, my dad and my mom wouldn't shit. So I'll be damned if I live this life. So I'm gonna keep pushing on. And it may be somebody else. It may be a teacher. It may be a supervisor they work for, or whatever the case is. It may be a cousin or something. So that's not always the case.
Yeah. Some kids make it despite their circumstances, and those are the ones that you don't really hear about in terms of what adversities they have to overcome. And unfortunately, there's more kids that fall on that side of the spectrum than that fall on the other side of the spectrum, especially when you look at sports. And we only tend to really think about sports in terms of maybe college and above, meaning semi-pro or pro. When you take a look at the United States as a whole, and you start looking at the number of sports that are available across the gender divide, it's not until then that a lot of kids are able to get out and find their avenue and find their niche in life and where they belong. This is one of the reasons why, and she's not on the panel, so I don't want to, say anything about her or her situation with her child. But this is one of the reasons why a panel member was talking about the struggles that her son was having because that avenue had been shut down. So once that avenue is shut down, that child doesn't have something that they identify with growing up. This is why I always, encourage people to, to have a balance. Don't be so heavily inundated to one thing. So if that thing is set down, that you can't function because you have another outlet. I mean, it's equivalent to investing. When they tell you when you invest, never put all your eggs in one basket. They call it diversifying or laddering. So, stocks, bonds, munis, precious metals. There's one I'm missing, and I can't recall it right now. But they tell you do all these things. So if the market takes a hit in one place, you don't ruin your investments because you're diversified, so you're protected against that. This is why I always tell people, have a full life. Don't let your life be all church. Don't let your life be all friends. Don't let your life be all family. It reminds me of a situation I had when I was coming home after renting a car. I was in the car with a gentleman who was devout Christian, and there's nothing wrong with that. Myself and another woman, and he was saying he only has two loves in life: his family and the church. He said if it wasn't about those two things, he didn't bother with it. And I thought it was interesting. But the problem becomes is, what if you're housebound? Your family doesn't come to visit you, and you can't go to the church. What do you do? Something to ponder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but you asked another question earlier about relationships, about being able to go to the reverend. What marriage is. Remember you had asked about that, like for counseling.
Yes.
I just wanted to go back there when we get there.
Sure.
But my notes. I'm looking at my notes from what David was yelling at us about. Who need counseling?
I just said people need counseling.
You need counseling.
Hey, listen, I'm going to be the angel's advocate today. Can I be the angel's advocate? I ain't no devil's advocate.
Yes, you can, but there's only one problem. Angels only exist in spirit.
Oh Lord, no! The word says angels be among us. When you entertain strangers, they could be angels. They could be angels. That's what the word says. So no, that's not true.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And I will.
Angels work through people, but there's still a spirit.
They are. You may be entertaining when you're coming. I'm gonna find the scripture. If you are entertain strangers because they may be an angel, like you may not know that has come to this earth as in heaven, like human form, but they are angels.
Right? No. That which is exactly my point. You don't view. They're not viewed as a spirit. They're viewed as the physical manifestation of the spirit.
Okay. All right. We're not gonna go into that one, not today. Let me. He already yelled at us about being about too much religion. So can we go on to the next? Can we go?
Wait a minute. Who says that a spirit has to be religious?
Oh Lord, you want to go into that now too?
I just asked a question.
I'm not gonna go there with you right now.
Okay.
I ain't gonna entertain that one at this time. Maybe the next show.
Well, let me see. John from America said, yeah, in Little Italy's in Japan, Japanese angel means messenger from heaven. So anyone could be an angel, technically, if they have a message from heaven.
Thank you, John from America with an A.
Yes, but you said spirit.
I said I'm an angel. I'm the angel advocate. So he just said that I am a person that technically may have a message from heaven. You don't know that, do you?
No, I never questioned that. I never questioned that.
You don't know if I'm an
I
angel.
said an angel is supposed to be a spirit. So I'm just getting clarification because I don't read the Bible.
I don't want to explore that at this time, to be honest with you. I'm not going to go there. I mean, I ain't going to go spiritual on it. We will,
Where's
but
my
I would
rosary
love
at?
to do that next time. I'm not prepared for that right now.
Oh, come on now.
You want to go there, David? Are we going here? It's your show. Or whose show is this? Because I just want to make sure
We are not going there tonight. We are not going there tonight. We're going. In fact, we're going to eventually get off this. Because you know what? You know what? March Madness is back. So I'm gonna watch the rest of March Madness tonight.
I can go in now. We need to. Listen, wait a minute. That's what Diedrich said. Herb, don't take it there. Don't have me.
Hey, I'm not a biblical. I'll be the first to say I don't read the Bible. Okay? I'm not a biblical scholar. I'm only asking.
Let me get my Bible app out.
That's it. I'm only asking.
So you saying an angel can be a spirit? Is that what you? That cannot be
a
spirit?
No. I said an angel is supposed to be a spirit. The physical manifestation is what you're talking about. That's why I said correct me if I'm wrong, because the misconception is that all spirits are good. But if Lucifer was cast out of heaven, then Lucifer exists as what?
A spirit. So no, it's not all spirits are good. That's not true. But I'm saying that I'm speaking as a good angel, a voice from heaven.
I know. I never questioned
I'm being the angel's advocate. Let me correct it. Thank you, Harold. I'm going to correct it. I'm being the good angel advocate today. Can I
need counseling? Y'all sound like the scenario I brought up. Point number one. Y'all need counseling. That's why it was brought up. Y'all both
I tried not to go there. You can't want to keep going reading. I'll bring my Bible app up and everything. The other thing is like you said parents calling the teachers. Well, I sure emailed too this morning. This morning, and they called me back because I have one child that he's trying to prove a point. And that child, now that was a crazy question though, asking is there internet in Egypt? Now, okay. That was ridiculous. Like, how are you gonna know? Who gonna know? Unless you call Egypt and ask them, is there internet in Egypt? And I'm assuming that there's some type of internet, because there's the WhatsApp. So if I need to make a hypothetical, just a thought, I would say, yeah, there's WhatsApp, and that is like worldwide, and people use the internet everywhere, but you couldn't answer that question. But you know what? I needed to talk to my kid's teacher because that boy act like he's trying to prove a point to me, because I made him go 4 days, and now he's trying to show me just because I'm in here 4 days don't mean anything's going to change. So he thinks he's going to try to outsmart his mama, his single mama. Okay, but guess what? I've been here some years longer than him, so I'm about to outsmart that brother. Okay, I got something for him. I'm gonna show you what single mamas can do. Okay, I'm gonna bring this.
I can hear him singing the song.
I ain't fighting with you today, Herb. I ain't fighting. I ain't bring no popcorn today. I ain't messing with you today. I'm good. I'm chill today.
He's singing the song.
But I called 2 parents. I called about 2 teachers today because that boy think he's smarter than me, and that's okay. They'll learn.
Keyword. I had no problem. You can call the teachers. Don't call the counseling office with everything. Don't call the counseling office with everything, because that's what people defer to. So that's my issue. Call the teachers, because most of the time they're the ones with the students all day long or during their class periods, depending on what level they're at. And then they be calling me with stuff. I'm like, how the hell I'm supposed to know? Like I don't know. I have to check with the teachers to find out information. The whole point of it is find something to do at your job and quit nitpicking and looking for everything. Oh, I'm gonna call the school. Oh, I got a 10-minute break. Let me call the school. I gotta have my lunch break. Oh, I need to call the school. Like, damn, like for real, really, like for real. I'm just putting that message out there. If it ain't pertinent, if it ain't something that's, because if you call as a parent and say, well, I want to know if my kid gonna go on to the next grade. Shouldn't you know that? Shouldn't you know that? Did you look at the report cards? Did you look at Schoology or whatever system that? Stop making yourself look stupid and don't just feel, oh, it's the first day. I just want to just call up the school every opportunity I get. Hey, I'm in the bathroom stall. You can't hear me? I'm on a bathroom break, whatever. I just want to know if little Johnny, whatever, is passing science. Huh? What? Where you at? Again, I'm being funny, but that was one of my points. So every Thursday, you're going to look forward to Who Needs Counseling. And don't be surprised if you get an inbox with a referral form saying you need counseling.
You need counseling.
It's all good. I like it. I like it.
Hey, people, we gonna wrap this one up and get ready because it's funny. Like I say, hey, we do the Thursday, then it's time to kick into Monday night show. This is never ending, and I have to put post out and stuff and try to build it up, so it's never ending. But I like it. It helped out definitely during the pandemic, whatever, because it was times I was like, man, this is just it's the worst. But you had to find ways to stay creative and to try to build yourself. And point number 2, not live in the eyes or the shadow of your kids. To keep doing something positive and being productive. So that's what I took on. And now it's like, woo, it's about to be overkill when school really kick in. But the crazy thing about it is the school year is winding down to the end anyway. Actually, with this hybrid schedule, each of them have about 20 days that they're going to be coming to school. But I guess they just wanted to get them acclimated back in, at least here in Maryland. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to get ready to close out. We're going to give our departing words. It was a great conversation, a lot of energy, and poor Darvin. I hope everything worked out for him. So, Lakia, what's your closing words?
Good one. I'm probably gonna go back to love has everything to do with it. Okay. Remember that.
Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken?
So that's
my
it?
stance.
Well,
love
growth and understanding occurs in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time. Well, you don't want to hear the song?
Ain't nobody listening to your fake little violin. This single mama got this thing under wraps.
Sing along with me, people.
Oh man.
This single mama got it under wraps. Yeah, that's a sing.
Sing along.
He sure did, Gwen, talk a lot today, didn't he? He brought some fire. He brought some energy and anger and
listen, Gwen. I can talk all the time. Sometimes we have people talking too much. So I just let people get their stuff off. So stay tuned. Things about to get heated up. Whatever things is about to get heated up. It's just beginning. The weather's about to break, and I'm about to let some fire to some of y'all asses. I'm just giving y'all due process right
You
now
ain't
ahead
gonna
of
fire
time.
up under me.
Kia, don't bite off more than you can chew. Slow
Yes,
down.
sir.
Slow your roll.
Y'all ain't running me off like I did Anita. I love you, Anita, but y'all ain't running me off. Like, no, okay.
Ooh, Anita
Okay.
might be listening. She gonna
ain't
come on
scared.
here like
I ain't
Ooh.
scared. Love you,
But-
Anita.
But for me, whatever, all the conversations is even when I got a little animated with the who needs counseling, these are legitimate issues that we need to talk about. Have open discussions and talk about it. We may disagree or we may agree, but it's all about us learning and growing from each other and also listening to other voices speak instead of the same usual people. Because I think that's the issue too. If you only listen and get advice or some from your circle and your circle ain't shit, guess what? You ain't shit. And that's just the bottom line. You have to reach out and find other people that give recommendations and suggestions or see how they live in. And most people have their own cluster, and that's what they deal with. And they wonder why they're frustrated because you're going to usually get the same feedback from them individuals. But if you reaching out to maybe it might be you might have one good person at work that you work with and you trust that person and y'all hang out and y'all can talk. That person might end up being your best friend, to be all honesty. If you're young and you go to college, you may have your neighborhood friends, but you may have a college friend who's been through that struggle with you in college. They may be one of your best buddies. So open up yourself and LaQuisha don't always, because y'all grew up on the same street and y'all known each other since kindergarten, has to be your best friend when you know LaQuisha is ratchet as hell. Sometimes when you get to be 30, 40, 50, you got to let LaQuisha go and you got to deal with her, feed her with a wooden spoon and say, we all right. But now I'm rolling with other people. And you're gonna get some backlash with it, but that's if you can handle it. I want all the smoke, people. I want all the smoke. Understand that. So with that said, it's March Madness. I'm in heaven. I'm about to watch the rest of these.
Yeah, I'm mad Michigan lost, man. I can't believe that nonsense. They do as well as they did. Yeah.
Michigan who? What March Madness you watching, Herb, huh?
That's what I read. I haven't seen it.
Oh, talking about Michigan State?
No, the University of Michigan. Big Blue, baby.
No, they ain't played yet. The thing just started tonight.
Okay, I couldn't figure out what the hell I was reading. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, now I was like, okay.
Stop reading the Niagara Falls reporters with fake journalism. Stop reading, Stop reading the Niagara Falls reporters, whatever. They're not real reporters. They're not real journalists. You got somebody that I don't know where they came from, and they reported, and they told you, Michigan.
Tonight's the play-in, isn't it?
Huh? Yeah, the play-in
Tonight's
game.
supposed to be. Yeah, I thought so.
Michigan is a number 1 seed. They're not playing.
That's why I saw 6 and I said that didn't make any sense. I said Michigan's supposed to be a 1 seed. I said that doesn't make any sense to me.
Stop watching sports from the Niagara Falls reporters.
Jack, you ain't read. You ain't into sports like that. You got one man that ain't into sports like that.
Hey, like I said, I don't have television at home, so most of what I see in terms of sports is through the apps. So and I didn't check the date on the article I read, which is my responsibility. So I'll take that. I'll take that L.
You need to get you a TV, man. You need to watch these sport debate shows and all of that stuff.
They're all on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, true, but I understand you cutting costs because it ain't really nothing on TV.
That's what it is. I don't need to poison my mind with that nonsense.
On TV, that's all I would want. Those channels.
Yep. That's like I said. That's why I don't DVDs, man, and my YouTube channels. That's how I stay up to speed.
All right, good people. I'm out. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend. You know what it is for me? March Madness and Saturday boxing too. I'm in heaven. Let me do an acapella. I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven. I'm out of here. I'm out.
You can see yourself
I'm in heaven. Don't bother me. I'm in heaven. It's March Madness. I'm in heaven. You will remain single. You will remain single during this time because I'm in heaven.
Right, look at you, Herb. You rubbing it. Everybody think they can sing now. Everybody.
All right, good people. I'm out. Whatever. Just
Take
being
care,
silly.
man.
All right.